Okay, good morning, Chevra. Thanks for coming. The month of Shvat, the sponsors of the month are by Joni and Moshe Pollack, Leilin Nishma Shimon ben Moshe, Tzvi ben Mordechai, and Leilin Nishma Shira Rachma Bas Rav Alter Nasanata. And anonymously, thank you Hashem, Zivuk for Daniela Chana Bas Sarah Libby, and everyone else that's looking for Zivuk, safety of our soldiers and of our hostages. The week is sponsored by my in-laws, Binyamin and Barbara Selsky, by Jill and Robert the Kaufmans and Michal and Chana Shaul, memory of Tamar Bat Moshe, Azriel ben Aryeh, for the complete refuah shlema of Gita Rivka Bas Chaya Riza, by the Eisens in memory of Chaim Aron ben Binyamin HaKohen, and by the Jaspers and Leilui Nishmas Reuven ben Shimon Zichrono Livracha. Okay, there's a few things I want to say before we start learning today. A few important things. One is, if you ordered a sefer, then it's here, take one. Bet is tonight we're going to have a very special night in here. After the 9 p.m. Mariv, one of our Chavrim that's been learning with us online from Chutz La'aretz is here right now, and he's sponsoring a whole evening here, Prohibition Pickle, catering, and I'll be leading a Shifchi Kamayim Libech, a whole just outpouring the soul, Nigunim and Torah, lights out, going deep, going strong. So that's tonight in here after 9 p.m. Mariv. Some wine, just make it as strong as we can. So definitely come and just come with an open heart. That's that. Further, there was someone that came into Shir that was in Shir here on Monday morning. He doesn't live here, but he happened to be in here on Monday morning, and it was a pretty short and fast Shir because I had to head out. But he made a very, very deep observation that I wanted to share with you, that I've been thinking about it since he said it to me. He said, it seems to me that you guys are in the process of thinking. You're right now in the mode of thinking. You're not necessarily saying what's right or what's wrong. You're saying, you're basically in the place of thinking. And I found that to be so precise. Yeah. There's an element I'll share with you personally. When you teach, it's like you always want to show this is exactly what needs to be done, and this is it, and we have the answers, and v'chule. And the secret to knowing anything in this country is humbling ourselves. And I hope that what we're trying to give overview here to everyone right now is that we're in the process of deep thinking. Obviously, inspired only by one makor of machshava, which is the Torah. And we're searching, we're deeply searching for that which was hopefully the calling of our time. But I'm very proud, if that's the observation that he had, that makes me feel actually good, as opposed to saying, oh, you guys have a shita and this is how it works, v'chule. Like, we're in a deep state of, I didn't mean to say that, but we're like in a, we're in a very crucial time of humbling ourselves. We know what can't be anymore, but we're not yet certain exactly what needs to be, and we're searching through it. And if I have that approach, then I can be open, which is what we need to be. I can be open to whatever the new light is coming down. And I just wanted to bring that to our attention because it's sitting very deeply with me, and I'm very thankful for that observation from that person that shared it with us. One more important nikudah before we go inside. Another we have a lot of chevra learning with us all over the world. It's really incredible, and I'm getting messages every single day by people. No one says good cheer. Everyone has something with tocha in the context to share, to add. So one of the chevra said to me, he had a hard time with something that was said last week, and we went back and forth a few times until it became a vurar, but I wanted to say it here as well. And I think yesterday was an amazing, unfortunately painful reminder. We spoke about, or I said about the Iron Dome, that it's one of the saddest things that ever happened to the country. Yeah, even maybe I said the word dangerous. So I want to speak about this for a second. And he gave me he said to me, listen, you're going to say the same thing about penicillin? you know, that it's also, these are things Hashem gave us to protect ourselves. So, I just want to, I think it's clear to everyone in here, but I want to make sure that it doesn't, that it came across good. This is the point of learning, sharpening the mind, humbling yourself if you didn't say something correctly. But I think here the Chevra understood, but if anyone didn't understand, I want to make it clear. If someone allows themselves to keep on getting sick because they know there's penicillin, they're mamish sick. Even if penicillin keeps on healing them from whatever they got sick with. Is that understood?
Yeah.
Everyone gets it.
Eventually,
Yeah.
the penicillin will stop working and you're going to die.
100%.
You just keep on taking
100%.
it over and over.
Be'elef achuz. Be'elef achuz. And as we see yesterday, first day that Chayalim coming out of a certain area, boom. How many rockets were there on Ofakim yesterday? Yeah. So that's what I meant by that. It's a whole headspace. It's a whole headspace. It's a whole mindset that we're trying to snap out of. We're just trying to snap out of. So I just wanted to make sure that was clear to everyone. And if you could open up on page Lamed Aleph in the Sefer, in Lamed Aleph in the pages if you have it in front of you, okay? Daf Lamed Aleph. Now, while you're at it as well, if you're going to put a little bit of a bookmark, I want you also to keep a bookmark on Daf Kuf Lamed Vav. You take the back, you know, the flap of the back, and put a bookmark on Daf Kuf Lamed Vav, because that's where the notes are that we have. We're going to be looking at a few notes. Welcome, Shmuel, Shemer Yisrael. Good to see you. Okay, so today we're entering into, the learning is going to be very, very important. And the point, what we're going to be seeing today is the beginning of a drawing, the beginning of a map, the beginning of an opportunity, of a frame of how to begin to actually fix what needs to be fixed, al pi Sifrei Chasidus and al pi Sifrei Kabbalah. And Rav Ginsburg has already introduced us to the notion that we are in a chalom. This is a chalom. A chalom, dreams are generally not in order. And like we said last time, it takes a Yosef HaTzadik, it takes a Joseph to be able to piece different pieces of the dream and weave them together in an order and in a manner and a function that can then make sense to the reality that we have in front of us. Like we said last week, on Monday, we're all living a certain dream right now. What is that dream called? So a few people said Beis Hamikdash, Geula, Alavai. The point is, we're living in a state of Shivat Zion, of coming back to Eretz Yisrael. That's still in the realm of a dream. It's not over yet. There's still a few Jews outside of the country, so it's not over yet, nachon? But we're in that dream, and the process of Geula, all these different things are happening to us that for thousands of generations it never existed before this situation and this reality that we're in. But the dream is me'urbav, it's not in order. And with the right tools, we're going to try to piece them together, weave them together, so that we could do something lemaisa and have some kind of a game plan that makes some kind of sense. Because it seems when we look out in the country right now, there's another 2 chayalim that were killed yesterday. Yesterday there were another 2 chayalim. It's still mayhem. It's still mayhem, and the sheker is still sholet ba'olam. Lie, mamish, the opposite of truth, is still reigning in the world. And we're trying to just work through and think deeper and figure out, Lamaisa, how can we feel that there's any order taking place? How can I go to sleep at night looking at my children, saying that I'm actually a thinking person that's consciously attempting to make sense of Olam HaSheker, on a Lamaisa way, but it must come from Pnima, and not just thinking over here. It's got to come from inside. So there's a lot of terminology we need to be learning, and that's what we're going to be doing right now. If you look again on the bottom of Lamed Aleph, the second to bottom paragraph, this is the paragraph we ended with last week. Chalomot al pi tivam hinam tohu chaser seder. Dreams are naturally a orderless deal of chaos. על מנת להפוך חלום למציאות, יש לארגן ולסדר את חזונו ורעיונותיו לפי סדר עדיפויות, order of preferences, שימושי ומעשי, practical order of preferences, הנבנה מתוך הבנת חלקי החלום, היחסים ביניהם והדרך בה הם מתייחסים למציאות הקיימת. And we spoke about this, that who was the person that did this, who we have a prototype for this, who is this? This is Yosef Atzadik, yes.
Who made it priority?
Priority, thank you. Priority. HaKabbalah, now we're starting, this is where we're starting from, HaKabbalah, כפי שנשתדל לבאר בהמשך, מספקת לנו את תבנית הסדר בו נוכל לשבץ את חלקיו של חלום הגאולה ולהפכו לתוכנית רצינית לתיקון המציאות. What does Kabbalah offer? I don't even like that language, but that's like a modern language, right? What does Kabbalah basically offer to us? It offers to us a tavnit, a seder. It offers to us an order. In Kabbalah, everything, when you're thinking Kabbalistically, it's all with the sfirot. Those are not just nice ideas. How do you say tavnit? Template. It's a template upon which things can manifest and fold out and bring some kind of an order that we could hopefully relate to. And that's what he's saying over here, that hopefully we're going to take advantage of this and look at it from there. ללא הסדר הזה, without an order, נידון החלום המשיחי שבבסיס השאיפה לציון, להישאר מעורפל כחלום הזוי. Without this order, this messianic dream, which is really all about the aspiration of coming back to Tzion, remains me'urpal. You know what me'urpal means? Foggy. Arafel. It remains foggy. Kechalom hazui, like a delusional dream. Sheshorshô ha'ne'elam omnam beruach shel kedusha, its root is hidden somewhere mysteriously in some burning desire of holiness, even if it doesn't look like it at all. Ach en bo yecholet lehitmamesh, but it doesn't have the ability to actually manifest. It doesn't have the ability to come into fruition. Al yedei akifat seder al hachalom ha'me'urpal. Okay, achifa, enforcing. No, that's akifa with an ayin and a kuf. But this is aleph and chaf, right? Enforcing, achifat chok, right? The law enforcement. By enforcing a certain order, al hachaloma me'urpal, on a foggy dream, and it takes a lot of humbling to understand that it takes mamash from the, I would say it takes most from the religious Zionist movement to admit that the dream is foggy. For the other, it's not. This is, what are you even talking about? The dream, not dream.
What dream?
Ken, to a certain extent, what dream? What are you talking about?
We're living the dream.
What are you talking about? What dream? Or we just give up on the dream and we just want to live like the whole rest of the world. So it's either, but the chevra that are under the impression that the dream is clear, that takes a lot of humbling to say we need to acknowledge the dream is foggy. Because it shouldn't have ended up like this, the way we're in right now. Yes?
I think the dream is clear. Getting there is foggy.
I hope so.
No?
Well, it would be nice to think that. Not for everyone. It could work for some people, what you're saying, yeah? Yesh matzah. Again, al yedei akifat seder al hachalom ha'merupal, we're going to try to make some kind of an order in this foggy dream in order to what? נוכל לעבוד בסבלנות ובשיטתיות לקראת המטרה הסופית. We can work in an orderly and patient, manly form towards the end goal, towards the מטרה הסופית. חזון בהיר של כיוון ומטרה מעניק אמונה בצעדים הראשונים הקטנים ומסייע לנו לצבור כוחות ותאוצה לקראת הצעדים הגדולים והמהירים יותר שיבואו בהמשך. A clear vision of focus and direction gives someone faith in the initial steps, which may seem small, they may not seem so big. It's not Mashiach now, it's not necessarily that. But it gives us the koach to also gain koach and speed towards the bigger steps that are going to happen much faster. So I know we're already in a place of 75 years of kim'ah, kim'ah. Little. And then it's like, Chance for acceleration. No, let's go back 150 steps, and then little. And that's been more or less the process for a long time already. We're going to see what's changing now. ככל שכלי התיקון מתבגרים ומתבשלים, the more that the vessels of tikkun mature, מתבשלים, they become ripe, ripen, הם מסוגלים להכיל יותר ויותר מאורות התוהו, like we spoke about. They're able to contain more and more light from the light of tohu, that light that preceded the creation of the world. ולתת להם ממשות וקיום, and to give them actually the ability to be and to do something with it. But the vessels need to be strong, and they need to be in place. Now look where you see the footnote. Go to the back of the Sefer, if you have the Sefer, on Kuf Lamed Vav, or even if you have, there's also these pages of the Ha'arot, for those that need it. This is just as important. We're on Ha'ara Hey. Okay, to understand this practically, we're going to see this inside. This is very important. Remember that Rav Ginsburg said the whole shita of what he's developing everything on is based on the Lubavitcher Rebbe's instructions. Right? So he says like this, ישנה סתירה לכאורה בין דברי הרבי הרייץ לבין דברי הרבי. There seems to be a contradiction between the sixth Rebbe, the Rebbe's father-in-law, and the Rebbe. בכך שהרבי הרייץ התבטא שתפקידנו העיקרי היא לקיחת צעדים קטנים ולא לחשוב שעלינו להפוך את העולם. The Frierdiker Rebbe said, basically, לא עליך המלאכה לגמור, meaning he was more focused on saying, listen, focus on baby steps. Don't think right now that your whole thing is to flip over the whole world. Now, this is important just to put in terms of context. When did the Frierdiker Rebbe pass away? 1950. He was Rebbe from 1920 to 1950. And he lived through Hell Alei Adamot, the Frierdiker Rebbe. And he was beaten to the core. He suffered so much, basically left paralyzed the last, not even being able to talk the last few years of his life. So the Frierdiker Rebbe's shita, his thing was take small steps and don't think you have to flip over the whole world. Vilu Rebbe, but the Lubavitcher, the seventh Rebbe, kava, shalinu lafoch et haolam hayom. But the Rebbe's whole thing is, are you kidding me? Flip over the whole world today. Change over the whole world today. Big steps now, which is how his nisiyut, his leadership, and the period that he was leading definitely conducted itself, right? Big, monstrous, the whole thing, right? Lafoch et kol haolam. Now what we see is very interesting because the Rebbe never, ever strayed from his father-in-law. In fact, everything was in the name of his father-in-law. So there's a steer over here. What should life be like? Small movements, kim'ah, or changing over the whole world today?
Maybe it's not to borrow a phrase from some of the Jew-hated presidents of universities, but it's context, time. It is.
Let's see.
It's a different time.
That's why I told you what date he died. That's exactly why I told you the dates. And the Rebbe became Rebbe. It's going to be Yud Shvat in a few days. Yud Shvat, Tafshin Yud, was the year that the Frierdiker Rebbe was Nifter. And then a year later, in Tafshin Yud Aleph, was the year that the Rebbe, on that day, took on the mantle of leadership. It was 1 year in Lubavitch, very mysterious year where there wasn't an official Rebbe, between 1950 and 1951. And it's true. It's hard to say that, even that, I call it the C word now, context. But it's true. But the Rebbe said over here, Aleinu lafoch et haolam hayom kedei lavi et HaMashiach. Meaning he's full on speaking Mashiach talk. Yeshuv hadvarim hu bekach. So to settle the words is like this. שמהתבטאותו של הרבי הרייץ ועד לדברי הרבי עבר זמן. Yes, that's what you're saying. Not just a lot of time passed, crucial time passed between these two approaches. והייתה התפתחות בבניין הכלים. And there was a development in the area of building vessels. between the time that the Frierdiker Rebbe was speaking about focusing on small baby steps to the time the Rebbe comes out and says, Chavra, everything's ready. Polish the buttons. It's all there. Yeah.
There's also all Torah and Chabad about each Rebbe had a different tafkid, like the first, second, as it goes through. The sixth Rebbe and then the seventh Rebbe, which is the Rebbe.
The Rebbe, yeah.
See, there is a Torah that there's more of this Galus, like Malchus.
Totally.
It comes from Panemius itself, the
revelation of the Tafkid.
Yeah,
100%. עד שהיום אכן אפשר וצריך להפוך את העולם לטובה באופן מיידי. And now Rav Ginsburg is saying, now we're reaching a place that you could flip over and change over the whole world for the best immediately באמצעות האורות המרובים דתוהו. There's so much light from tohu that still needs to be redeemed, and there are more and more kelim. We have more and more vessels that are ready to receive all this infinite light, which really compromises the dream of coming back. You understand how big this dream is to come back to Eretz Yisrael for 2,000 years? It's such a big dream, but it's still orot de tohu waiting to find their place of kelim de tikkun. It's still there. So in the time of the Frierdiker Rebbe, it was like, listen, the vessels aren't there yet. Just work, slowly, little things, and then the whole world flips over during World War II, and then the establishment of the State of Israel, and the whole, the technological revolution, and many other revolutions that took place, which now show us that we're in a world where things, listen, it's amazing. I always say this, I'm in touch with more people in one day than not just my grandparents did in their whole life, but I would say about 2 or 3 generations of great-grandparents as well, in one day. What does that say? What does that say about what Hashem is offering the world today? It means the vessels of something beautiful, potentially beautiful, are more prepared and instilled within the world.
And the capacity for huge steps is not
fast. Yep. Nachon. Huge steps. Back in the page, Lamed Bet. Haseder achitzoni. You see after footnote Hey. Is the heater on? It's so hot in here. Yeah, thank you. It's pretty hot. הסדר החיצוני תורם גם להתגלות יופיו הפנימי של החלום ולהופעתו לאין כל. Meaning this outer order that we're trying to put with what we'll see, Kabbalistically speaking, you know what it makes the dream look like? The inner beauty of the dream looks more beautiful when there's an order to it. When you could say, oh, this is here, that's here, this means place is here, this step now over here, this step over here. When you give something a tzura, when you give something a shape, the inner beauty is more and more revealed. Like, listen, in art, Ben, tell me if I'm totally off, okay? But it depends, I guess, on your taste in art. But, when abstract art, when there's like some kind of when there's an artist that he has the brain of an artist, the mamish that stands in front of the easel, it's just one of the most wondrous, godliest things in the world. Like, I used to watch Yitzchak Ben Yehuda from the Moshav Mevo Modi'in sometimes, and I would think about he's just an amazing artist, Yitzchak. Those of you that know Yitzchak Ben Yehuda. And just to think about like what's going on in his head, there must be so many amazing things, and if you start to see, like, just pour it all out right away, there's no tzura to the portrait. Then when the portrait begins to get a tzura, the deeper meaning and beauty of the actual dream that's in his mind is revealed, and it looks more and more beautiful. Okay? Haseder, al yedei haseder, noseh hachalom chen be'enei kol ro'av. By making some kind of an order, the dream is noseh chen, starts to look like something desired and beautiful in the eyes of all that look at it. Ve'oleh beyado lichbosh levavot nosafim lechazono. And more people are being conquered by the way the dream is portraying itself. And this is a hard question I want to ask you right now. The way the dream is set up right now, is it attractive? The way our dream it's a hard question. The way the dream is set up on the easel right now.
To who?
Is it attractive to those that subconsciously share the dream?
Well, it's obviously attractive to those who have made the leap.
Here he goes again.
There's a waiting list on Nefesh B'Nefesh right now. There's a waiting list on Nefesh B'Nefesh, and it's more attractive than the alternative.
You know what Rav Shlomo said in the name of the Frierdiker Rebbe? He said, we come to God like schleppers. You know what that means? It's like Hashem wants to give us so much, and we're blowing our mind that there's a waiting list on Nefesh B'Nefesh.
The answer is no, it's not attractive. It's not attractive when you look at how many people...
It's not. Wait, 1 second. I want to go back to that, but I want to make sure another statement I just said doesn't get confusing. I'm calling it fast. It's tweeted already. Do you understand what I want to make something clear? Rav Shlomo used to get invited in the 70s a lot, in the 60s and 70s, to all these Hillel houses on college campuses to do concerts. And he was so heartbroken. I have him screaming this a few times, where when he would spend time with the Hillel rabbi and he would ask him, how's it going here? He's like, oh my God, we have an overflow of more than 1 million, of 11 people on Sunday mornings when we offer bagels and lox. So it's like the Frierdiker Rebbe was basically saying, the Ribono Shalom, basically, there's certain moments Hashem wants to give you everything. He says, just kol ma shetevakesh, whatever you ask for. And we ask for, like, let's say the equivalent of like $500. It's like the Ribono Shalom says, well, I was going to give you like 500 million, but if that's all you're asking for, then okay, then enjoy it. Like he said about the Moshav, when he was trying to raise money for the Moshav, in the early years of the Moshav Mavon. He said sometimes, like Chevra, you know, he was trying to get his Chevra to go big and dream big, to not ask like schleppers, because like sometimes like they would just be so ecstatic if they could just like fix a few bathrooms and maybe a garden or something. When the guy that's writing the checkbook possibly was thinking, I was thinking of like building you all like, you know, chadrei ochel and new houses and whatever, but if that's all you're asking for, okay, and then everyone feels good. You feel like you scored gold, and he's like, phew, thank God, I don't have to write out the check as big as I want. What do you mean there's a waiting list on Nefesh B'Nefesh?
I'm just answering the question. I'm saying it's attractive to some people.
So what's the answer?
No.
So the answer, going back to Brenner, is the way that it should be is that it's not. Can't wait.
Rav Shlomo.
Nachon.
Chamushim. 80%.
But why does that have to dictate today's reality?
It's not. But
Why does that have to dictate today's reality?
We have to understand in the shlav after shlav after shlav that we're at a state that in some ways is further ahead, and not only to see the negative. It's not good enough, but it's also not...
Everyone has to come back. Everyone. I just saw in this week's podcast.
You're not going to get everyone.
I'm going. What'd you say? What'd you just say right now?
You're not going to get everyone.
Everyone.
I don't want to give up on one.
But I don't want to give up.
I don't want to give up on one of them.
This time is everyone.
I don't want to give up on one. That's more pessimistic than anything I've ever said in here.
No, it's realistic.
That's more depressing and pessimistic than anything you've heard in here.
All the Jews who have...
I'm not giving up on one of them. Chevra, I'm not giving up. Eli. I'm not willing to live in a Yiddishkeit and in a reality that lechatchila gives up on anyone. Not a chance. Not a chance. No one. Huh?
If the birth rate in America and London and all the different places with the big Jewish communities isn't as fast as the Aliyah rate, that means that at a certain point there'll be a tipping point where the community will say, we're not big enough to support ourselves. We just have to go. It's going to happen.
There.
Here.
We have to leave here, you're saying.
No, they're going to come here.
Yeah.
It depends what happens historically.
Whatever could happen historically, whatever could happen geographically, like all these ideas, all these concepts have to find place. What we're saying over here right now is all outside stuff. We haven't even built a seder of the portrait. We're just acknowledging that the current status of the portrait, of the dream, in its current status, is not, I'm using the words he says, Noseh chalom chen be'einei kol ro'av. Is it noseh chen be'einei kol ro'av? Meaning, does it have a charm in the eyes of all that glance at it? And the answer clearly is not enough. Now I'm going with you. Not enough. But not enough, it really equals no. Right? Whatever the reasons are, listen, 100%. Blaming anyone that's there, that they're not able to enjoy the portrait as much, is ridiculous. Because it means that me that's living, I'm a live figure in the portrait, in the dream, has not done enough 100%, and I agree with you. 100%.
Also, the dream isn't geographical. Every one of us could have the dream a little clearer.
Yeah, Ellie.
I was going to say, I know, I was thinking about this statement by Moshe that he was
Kvad Peh.
or something. And I think what he might have meant was, I don't have the capacity to convey the dream.
Mm-hmm.
There's a difference between me and the people. I can't, the vision is soaring, and it's above it's beyond my capacity to convey.
Right, so Hashem says to him,
Yeah,
the Kohen will, right? So I once heard from Rav Biederman something so simple, yet so astonishing. He asks a very simple question. If Hashem can change water into blood, why didn't he just ask Hashem to get rid of his Kvad Peh? So what I take from that is that anything that seems to us to be in the realm of we're just not equipped for it is an immediate expression of a lack of emunah. Emunah shlema, and davening for emunah shlema, this is the stuff we're talking about. Emunah shlema means that I can daven to Hashem to be able to convey and fill the portrait as beautiful as it needs to be. If I'm davening from Hashem, that it should come from Hashem through me, or even, it doesn't have to be through me, that it should be. Just that it should be. You know, be'inei kol ro'av. You know, the chief rabbi walked into the shiv, one of the shivas I was at last week. And I felt like it was, I felt like right now I was in the presence of a Yom Kippur moment. Because I was davening my brains out that if Hashem, you chose him to be the spokesman of the rabbinic leadership in Eretz Yisrael right now, please, 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 may the words that need to come out right now through the rabbinic leadership right now, please send him the words. But instead, most of the time, what do we do? There's no leadership. Okay, are you davening over it? Are you davening right now? These people find the right words so that their words could be nosechein, be'inei kol ro'eh. They're part of the Hashem, they're pawns in this dream. And the vision of the dream right now, they're in this places of leadership. How they got there, why they got there, what are they doing? Right now is the moment of, can you daven for someone to be nosechein, that their words will bring nesiyas chen. So that's emunah shlema, that I can daven for it. And Rav Biederman, when he said that about Moshe Rabbeinu, it's like, I never thought about that. I was just like, whatever. That's the plan, that he shouldn't be able to convey it, and he would need Aaron HaKohen to be mashlim the malacha. Okay, that's what ended up happening. But when I learned the parsha, and I think about one of my impediments, do I also say, listen, I'm just not equipped for it?
Wasn't that Meitzarim? It's just not seeing the possibilities.
I'm not even
Possibilities
thinking,
don't even register.
Right. I'm not, because they're not part of my, that's the state we got stuck in for all these years. Because it wasn't imbued with emunah shlema b'pnimius, we always just kept on saying, this is what it is. This is what it is. This is the reality. This is what it is, and we do the best with what we have. Yeah.
But don't we say that we don't daven to change the Kodesh Baruch Hu's mind, we daven so that we understand have a better concept or a better grasp or understanding of what's happening?
Are we davening to change Hashem's mind? I've never. I would never want to change Hashem's mind.
I'm saying when we're saying that we're davening at that moment, you felt like it was Yom Kippur to make sure that the right things come out of his mouth, and if the right things didn't come out of his mouth.
Chassidus teaches me that it could be that Hashem was waiting for years and years and years for a moment like that a Yid davens over the chief rabbi to have the right words. That's actually legamre aligned with Hashem. It could be that I have to choose to look at it, that I was actually completely aligned with Hashem's ratzon. That's where my emunah bechira comes in, kicks in. Tamavin? Not changing Hashem's mind. La'efech. If I believe that a real leader of Am Yisrael should have the right words to be nosechein beinei kol ha'am, And I'm right now davening that he should have the right words. I'm not changing Hashem's mind. In my humble opinion, it's kilu an answer to Hashem's prayers and Hashem's dreams. See, the other way that you just said is a very interesting one. I could say right now, it's Hashem's ratzon that rockets should fall on Ofakim and Sderot. Why? Who am I to change Hashem's mind? But maybe when I see rockets falling on my brothers and sisters, it's Hashem waiting and saying, I've been waiting for you to not change my mind, but to mashlim my ratzon in this world. This is deep stuff. It's good stuff, though. These are all important things that we're speaking about. It's really refining hashkafa and taking the concept of emunah to a much deeper place than whatever it's been until now. If Hashem just wanted me to just say, I don't want to change your mind, whatever I see, I just have to accept, there would not be Yidden left in the world. There wouldn't be a thing called Jews. There wouldn't be any dream. There'd be nothing. I have to believe I'm a shutaf in the bria. I'm a partner in creation. And when Hashem exposes me to something, it's not to say I want to change your mind. Now there is the sheet of Rav Soloveitchik, how he relates to this, which is very interesting. When Koren put out, this is a really good thing. When Koren put out their siddur of Rav Soloveitchik's Perush, this is probably about 10 or 12 years ago. I don't remember exactly. How old is YouTube? Be'erech. 15 years? Mashu kazeh, right? So this is like the beginning of YouTube. I remember Koren had a YouTube channel. It was it was the first thing I ever saw from them. And they put out a mamash, either a 40-second or a minute and something audio of the Rav speaking. And it was one of the first times I ever heard the Rav's voice in English. I heard it in Yiddish from the Yortzeit classes, but I didn't really hear it in English. And he addresses this. He says, do you think that praying is standing there and trying to convince God to change his mind? He says, it's not God that I'm trying to change, but the person that I could become through tefillah is kivyachol mevatel gzar din. Why? Because that gzar din that was on me, before I became a different, it's the pasuk that Rabbi Nachman uses in Azamra. Ve'od ma'at ve'en ish ve'itbonanta al mekomo ve'ineno. That person, Ve'od ma'at ve'en rasha ve'itbonanta al mekomo ve'ineno. It's not, the gzar din is still on that person. I'm not that. When a person goes through the process of humbling themselves and tefillah v'za'aka from a place of anava and emunah shlema of mamash, en li al mi li'ishayen, it's not that I'm changing God's mind. I never want to change God's mind. Who I am right now is a different player in the dream. I'm somebody else right now. I'm a different person. What's applicable to this new person was not what was applicable to the previous person. Now it could be because there was a lot of gaiva here for many years. That what was applicable to that door, right, can only be changed if we humble ourselves, completely humbling ourselves, begging for a newfound concept of emunah shlema, to be able to feel that there's a presence of God in every single step more than ever, and that no one will be left behind. But based on this first 75 years, I don't know if I could say that no one could be left behind, because bedidan havi uvda, fact is, this dream came out to the world, and how much percentage of world Jewry did it attract?
Not 20. Not 20.
So we have to, interesting stuff.
It's not clear that the dream went out to the world. Just in this room, if someone were to write a paragraph, what's the dream? It would come out different paragraphs.
Correct.
Do we want to live in peace with the Arabs, that they're working with us? Should the Arabs not be here? Should there be a Beit HaMikdash?
He already told us. He already told us that
those
you're...
are details.
But that's what a dream is. It's saying
That's what it is. Yeah, there's no resolution.
There's no priority. There's no seder.
That's exactly
It's just like that's what it was. But and you know what? That was part of Hashem's seder. Why? That's not a seder.
Resolution. That's very low resolution.
That's not the seder.
What does Eretz Torah Yisrael mean to you? What does it mean to me? What does it mean to Malay Amos? What is it? You could just say words.
Those are big words.
That's fine. I have no problem. But we know what's not Torah.
Okay.
Wait. This is going to be interesting. I'm only going to let you for 2 minutes. What's not Torah?
Shabbos.
Right. What else?
Lashon Hara.
What else? I'm pushing you. No. What else isn't Torah?
What else isn't Torah?
Yeah.
Wanting to be a nation like every other nation
100%.
instead of being Makabel Am Lavadad is not a curse. Am Lavadad is a bracha.
Awesome.
And a Yid that keeps Shabbos kehilchasa and spits at Yidden and don't keep Shabbos.
It's not Torah.
So you just made a huge distinction.
Because there's a lot of Jews that are doing that.
I did not make a distinction.
You're
I
making
didn't
a
say-
huge
I
exclusion
didn't say
from a very
include
clear
keeping Shabbos,
Seder.
Because I know if a person's keeping Shabbos for Zichaline, then he's like Noach, who we say was, he did everything nicely, but he kept it to himself.
I want to share with you. I was down in Nova again on Monday, okay?
So,
And I, there's a bunch of chevra there. I don't go there and treat it like it's Poland or it's Auschwitz or it's Ukraine. It's the Chilul Hashem of that place is infinitely greater than Poland and Ukraine. Mamash.
great.
But you know what the Chilul Hashem to me is that when we go to a place like that, and there's thoughts in our minds of what a Chilul Shem Shamayim took place in this place, right? As opposed to, and I said this and I believe in it very strongly, all these precious boys and girls were looking for Hashem and we did not offer it to them. So that statement, what I just said, is very much not in line with a lot of people that would say Torah is Torah. Not you. I'm saying Baruch Hashem.
I agree with you 100%.
Not you.
I did a lot of hafotze, not as a Chabadnik. So
No, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But now it's time to call things out and saying, of course, Eretz Yisrael, Torah Yisrael, Am Yisrael, but they were saying, that's SD. We need HD. We need now to clarify these musagim that for the older generation was pashut. But for this generation, I'm not calling you old. I'm saying no, because I don't want it to be like for the older generation. I'm saying, by the way, many of us younger ones, are just as stuck in that thing as people.
But
And
Shlomo,
steer.
I just wanted to make it clear.
Yeah.
When I say those big three, if is not including it's not just my circle that I consider it's those who were dancing and looking for a religious, spiritual high. They're
But
part
do you
of
know how many
They're part
hundreds
my
of thousands of Yidden don't consider them their
I know there are people who say, that's why it happened, because they were mechal.
It's a
horrible
very,
thing to
it's
say.
a very, very, but you know why people say things like that?
Because it's
No, but based on this, do you know why? Because there's no seder to this chalom. There still is no order to this dream. It's just either very high talk or very small talk, but there's no tavnit, there's no template to the dream.
There's not talking about anything that is meant. There's a poshut saying that said, before opening mouth, turn on brain.
Hashem, I want to hear that all the time. I want to hear that all the time.
Well, I'll be happy to offer it.
I think it's already ingrained inside of
It's
me.
good for somebody who has something in his brain.
Bidi.
Yeah, and if they don't, be quiet.
But we have to do what we're trying to do here is to figure out some kind of an order that we could actually present to the world that would be no sechein. And I believe mamash be'emunah shlema, that if we humble ourselves and think right now, and not just say, this is right and this is wrong. I mean, what's wrong is Chilul Hashem, Yidden getting killed. Like that's obviously wiping out all of them immediately. That's lo she'ela. We're talking about hamochek al menat lichtov. What am I gonna write? I better be sure that after all the wiping out of evil takes place, that the portrait that I'm aiming to portray to the world is so beautiful and that it's so all-encompassing and all-inviting that, like Avram Fried sings, based on the Rebbe's words, no Jew will be left behind. If I'm already writing off Yidden while I'm doing the vision, like I may as well not even try. And trust me, the last few days in Israeli Tikshoret, it'd be so much easier if I, excluded certain individuals. You guys are not so into the Israeli network media so much, like in the world of literature, Sofrim, Mechazaim. There's some very, 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 very nasty things that are being said. It'd be so easy to knock them all off. I have to believe even in Poshim Sheba Poshim, and I know what we differ on this, that if I actually gave them what their neshama is waiting to see, they'd be into.
That's the movement, my emunah.
It's the hardest thing in the world. I'm not busy with that question. I'm not entertaining that question right now.
You can't figure that out.
I'm not entertaining that question. I gotta go.
Starting from the assumption that everybody can decide.
I have to.
I don't know.
I have to, but I have to also be davening every second that until the dream, until the tavnit is beautiful, to daven that the people that are currently still in any place of leadership or power should be imbued with Ratzon Hashem. I have to. It's too easy to write everyone off.
The first Yid killed in the Maccabee Revolution was right. It was the first person killed was a Yid. There's that's where my confusion comes in.
We're here to make a little bit of order. That's good. We're here to make some order. We're not there yet. You see, like every time I think we're going to learn 2 pages, we get on 2 paragraphs. But and we don't have time. I have to stop and I have to run somewhere. But we're going to continue to understand how to write this out and to understand what the point of it is, and not to forget this is all about Mashiach. It's not about Band-Aids anymore. It's about the whole thing. Okay, Shakoach, everyone. Whoever ordered a sefer, did anyone else order a sefer that didn't get yet?
40 shekel?
40 shekel, yeah. Yeah, great.
We focused a lot on the nation politics side.
I'm going to give you next time, Tim.
You're on the radio, it's Moreshet.
Huh?
The song, you're on the radio, it's Moreshet, the song Kekli Cheres Nishbar.
Oh, yeah? They put it on? Adam Yesod, yeah. I haven't heard that in ages. Yeah, very quickly.